What's up, my tribe? I am really excited that you chose to be the tribe of Chillout with Mercadhis. Because here on Chillout with Mercadhis show, we impact, improve, and inspire lives through telling our stories. So please tell a friend to come on board so that we can impact lives, we can inspire lives, and we can improve lives. Thank you very much, and welcome to the show. My name is Brenda Adhiambo Favor, but in social media I'm known as Favor Mercadhis. Mercadhis, since I like Mercedes-Benz, the brand Mercedes-Benz, then eventually people just started calling me Mercadhis. But also I'm called Billionaire on social media, but what people don't know is where that name was birthed. So yeah, I have two kids, 18 and 16, going 17 in October. And yeah, I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm a daughter. I'm not a wife again. I am a divorcee. So I've not gotten married again. So I'm single, I'm single, I'm single. Yeah, so that's who Mercadhis is. My name Billionaire derived from the streets. Street families are the ones who started calling me Billionaire because of a small project I do on my own on the weekends where I give them breakfast like milk and bread, and all the way from Westlands, Kileleshwa, Yaya. So a number of them call me Billionaire, not because like I'm like a real billionaire, but because they feel like they can identify with me, and that's the name they gave me. So yeah, so that's where my name came from. I love life. I'm very full of life. I am always a happy person. I don't have time to really mourn for loss and everything. So yeah, so that's me in a nutshell. I like swimming. That's my talent. I love cooking. I think I'm one of the best cooks in this country. I'm a creative by nature, so I do interiors. I do a lot of charity work. I do quite a bit. I have a spa, so there's quite a bit of things that I do. We have a production house. So there's so much that we are doing behind the scenes, and of course it's not just done by me. I have a team behind me. I have my team, I have my PA, I have our social media digital manager. We have Grace here who's always doing my makeup. Sometimes people look at me and think that I'm dynasty, maybe that I have connections and all these things. All these things came over time because of the exposure I had. But I never got the privilege to grow up in a family that was well off. Of course, my dad was a bit an average person. He did his best at some point, but then eventually after some time, when we went with my mom, things became tough, and we moved to Kayole. And after Kayole, at some point, our house was locked. We lived in the streets, and there was no one to really take up our responsibility and even take us to school. So yeah, so we've had our share of struggle, and I hate poverty with all my heart. I hate poverty with all my heart, and that's what makes me wake up every morning to make sure that I do my best to make my surrounding, the society and the community a better place.
Oh, sorry, we are taking over your set.
Yeah. It is difficult to see your parents separate. That is nothing any child should go through. But then because sometimes circumstances happen, then there's not so much that you could do. But then that in itself became too much for a teenager like me, to be able to handle. But I grew up a church girl. I think that was my saving grace, because I would always be in church anytime. If you looked for me, definitely you will find me in church. I used to go to DC Kayole, DC Umoja. Then DC Kayole was open. Then I went to DC Kayole. And I was always in church. I would pray. I would ask God to change our lives. Na by the way, wase, hiyo story ya kushindaga ukiuliza watu what happened and they tell you ni God. And you dispute it. It is true. God, without God, there is nothing that can happen in your life. So, mtu akikusho ni God, just believe it that ni God. And I want you to take this on a very serious note, because a lot of times people ask you, what happened? Now, useme ni God manze, they rub you off and they say, no, you can't tell us ni God manze. Of course, there is faith with works. And works means that when I was young, I used to make hair, I used to go and do whatever, these handy jobs, just to make sure that I'm able to even feed my siblings. You know, because my mom didn't have a job. She was a housewife for the longest. And a lot of things happened even when we went to Kayole. Can you believe that we couldn't even afford to pay a house worth 1,500 bob? And our house would be locked. We used to have only one mattress and we'd all sleep on that one mattress. And we are 6 siblings at that point. So in the process, no one believed me. No one would believe in the potential that we had. People didn't want to take us to school. Like a poor man has no friends, including our relatives, by the way. A lot of people were not there for us in terms of supporting us. Yeah. Another thing was that if it was not for the saving grace of God that my mom's brother took me to school, then chances are very high I wouldn't even had an opportunity to go to school. So for us, it was always by the grace of God that we got these opportunities to be able to, we got these opportunities to be able to go to school and make something out of ourselves. Yeah. So after Kayole, I met my ex-husband, and the mother was a pastor, so she came in a lot in helping us and praying for us as well. So I always have to give it to her on that. But before that, we used to just live from hand to mouth. We would get food wherever. We used to even to go to supermarkets and steal food, literally. You know, like we would go to supermarkets and steal Indomie, steal whatever it is, you know, and just make sure that at least there's a meal. I am the firstborn of my siblings, and so I became a parent at a very young age. I became very responsible at a very young age because I had to make sure that my siblings are okay. So I thank God that to date, we were able to finish school. None of us was either raped or got pregnant or anything. That by the grace of God, everything fell in place. But I would also give this to prayer, because I prayed until I had no words to pray again, you know. So I prayed, and sometimes I tell my friends that right now I think sometimes I survive on the prayers I made in those days, because I would pray. I would go for prayer and fasting, even for 40 days. You guys are joking about this Chakahola thing. But let me tell you, when you're desperate, there is nothing you cannot do. And because of the prayers that we made in those days, because of pleading with God and asking God for his grace and his mercies, today our life is different. My dad passed on in 2009. I got married in 2007, so he attended my wedding. And he passed on in 2009. But I would tell you that if you look at us right now, if he ever resurrected from his resting place, he would be proud of us. My mom is alive and doing well. We take care of her. She's an amazing, amazing woman. I owe my life to her because she never, ever gave up on us. Yeah, she never gave up on us. She was always there despite of the challenges. Yeah, despite of the challenges we were going through. You could see how defeated she was at times. You could see how depressed she would get. You could see how helpless she would be as a woman with children. but she did an amazing job. Well, how did I get married? I met my ex-husband when I was 16 in church. He had just graduated from theology. And yeah, he was the guy I used to go to all the time and say, man, say home leo ni kunoma, hatuna food, things are tough, nini, we would pray. He would get us food from the church, he would get us food from home. And that's how we grew fond of each other, yeah? And then after that, I had to be an adult to get married. So fast forward, I cleared school, got married to him at 21. So at 21, I did a proper wedding in church. We got married because there was no money to go to school. So I wouldn't have wasted my time just seated there and there was nothing I was doing. So I got married, I got my babies. And yeah, here we are today. So we lived together. Of course, like any other marriage, there are always challenges. We experienced our own share of challenges, which I have chosen to keep them off the camera. But we eventually were not compatible for each other, and because of irreconcilable differences, we decided to part ways. As much as we are amazing co-parents, he checks in on his kids, I am with the kids, and yeah, we are trying our level best because we've never been in this space before, but we are trying our level best to give our children the best they should have as their parents. Ghetto. Tunasemaga, we have been real since 1960. 1960 ni Kayole ban. Kayole has taught us to be real. Kayole has taught us to survive. Kayole has taught us to face our issues head on. I think the tough side of me has been because I grew up in the slum, you know. In the ghetto, kabisa, na ghetto ya Kayole, si ghetto ya jokes. And then after we moved out of Kayole, we went to Kibera. So at the end of the day, niko na street life kidogo. I makeup na sijui heels na nini should not really lie to you that I'm Barbie. Me, I'm not Barbie, by the way. I can go so ghetto on you, you will not believe it. I got married in Nairobi Chapel, Ngong Road. It was even a surprise to my family because they were like, these kids, we were written off in the family, you know, in the extended family, that will never amount to anything. So I think that is what gave me the zeal every day to wake up and work, you know, because kuna time tumeishi streets bana, tunawasha taya ku keep warm. And no one ever believed in the dream we had. No one ever believed that something will come out of us. Unajua, people would just say watoi wara, hao tumewa write off. You get? But God ni nani? God came through for us in most amazing ways. Those days we never used to have social media. We never used to have places you can go and say, hey man, say, I need to go to school, please let's raise money, please do these things. You were only saved by the saving grace of God. At some point, even one day, I think one of my uncles took us to Shags. Watu waishi huko. I remember I went back to Shags to steal my siblings because I used to tell them, mkika hapa hakutakuwa na future, so we have to hepa. And we hepared Shags and we came back to Nairobi, and everyone complained why we came back to Nairobi, because people don't like responsibilities, you know. And from there, my mom decided I need to go to Germany because school is free in Germany. And I mean, nilikuwa in love bana. So I decided to get pregnant so that I don't go to Germany. So when I got pregnant, that's my son who is now 18 years. A lot of people told me, go and abort that child, you're still young, because I got pregnant at 19. And I got the baby at 20. So when I got pregnant, I was really conscious about my pregnancy because I didn't want to leave the man I loved behind. So what we decided is, let me get pregnant so that I don't go to Germany. So I went to German school. I speak German fluently. I went to German school. I did my entire course for German classes. I even applied for everything that I needed to apply. I even had a visa. But I never went to Germany because of love. Mapenzi wewe nikikushika. So at the end of the day, we got our baby. Then after my baby, I decided to wed because I was a church girl. It was only proper for me to be able to have a proper marriage to raise my kids in. And I got married, and in the same year I got married, I got my daughter. That was in 2007. So my wedding was in February, Nairobi Chapel. And by then I had started working for Nairobi Chapel. So a lot of the things we needed for our wedding came so easily because of the environment we were. It wasn't a big wedding. It was on a Wednesday at 1 p.m. rather. It was on a Wednesday at 1 p.m. because we didn't want a very long wedding. And because we were at Nairobi Chapel, uko ni kwa masos. So we had friends who'd say, we are paying for your honeymoon, we are going to give you this, we will give you your car. The only thing is those people who promised to give us our cars never showed up. So we actually went for our wedding in cabs. We had to call cabs last minute because wale wase walikuwa wamesema watatupatia gari, they didn't show up. You know, but we had a wedding of an invite of, I think, a maximum of 100 people. People showed up in numbers. We were so frustrated. Came in and offered us food. You know, so there was a lot of things that came in place that were not necessarily from our pockets. Even including our own honeymoon was fully paid by friends and other people. We didn't have a committee for our wedding. We just wanted to work with what we had. Yeah. The reception was at Nairobi Chapel, at the same venue. Then we went for a photo shoot in one of the residence of the pastors there. I think Pastor Janet Mutinda in Nairobi Chapel. And then we went for our honeymoon in SEK Guest House in Mombasa. So that's how it was. It was a very beautiful story. I was very young. You should have seen me. I think I will try and find photos of my wedding. I was a very young girl. Like, I was tiny. My waistline was just it, you know. I was the girl, man. But then, mambo ufanyika na saizi siku hizi tuko na tumbo, sijui nini. But yeah, we had an amazing time together as parents. But as fate would have it, we are now not together. And now, my tribe, I am very, very thankful for you watching this show on this channel. I am excited and I would like to ask for a favor from you. Please click down there and subscribe. Set a reminder for the next upload and share this channel to your friends so that they are not missing out on the beautiful stories on this channel. Besides that, I have a favor to ask from you. Please follow me on Facebook as Favor Mercadhis Nyagame, on Instagram as Favor Mercadhis Nyagame, on TikTok as Favor Adis, and I will be glad and available to answer your questions on inbox. Feel free to suggest the people you would like to see on this show. And until next week, see you again. Bye.